reflect on our encounters, various encounters with different sales agents from the insurance companies. You'll notice, Honorable Speaker, that the history that we've had with the insurance companies has made us develop a bit of some jitters and fear whenever we hear that a sales agent is at your door, because we believe they'll come and do sweet talk, sit with you, give you projections on millions you'll make in the event of something that you're insuring against or something. And then eventually, when now you are faced with such a calamity, now things will go, the other way. They'll go south. You'll try as much as possible, and not really I'm not really generalizing, but in most instances, you'll find it very hard to recover what you are seeking. And what this bill, Honorable Speaker, seeks, or this amendment seeks, is to set retribution and some serious punitive measures against such people who take advantage of the statutory requirement, and especially on the motor vehicle insurance, Honorable Speaker. If you listen to the stories by the people who have motor vehicles, especially those people who engage in motor vehicle business, the matatus, even the private vehicle owners, the lorries, the stories you'll hear are very shocking. That during registration and when they are taking premiums, these people are very good. They're very, very good. I do not know what happens. I mean, they are covering you against an accident has happened, then they set their own standards of checking whether it is indeed true, whether the accident took place. They claim, they take you now, they tell you now after, give us 3 months. We do investigations, Honorable Speaker. 3 months goes to 6 months. They go and collect some information. They send so many people with, whom you can't, authenticate as an individual, as a client. And then they eventually give you a report sometimes which is not so pleasing. They tell you that there was contributory negligence, and there is no, within their structures, unless you go to other arms of government, or rather you go to court, there is no element of appeal within their structure, because they'll tell you this is what we've decided, and we'll pay you 70% of what you insured, or 50%, or even none. That is what this amendment tries to cure. That even as we talk about setting some very strong punitive measures against those insurance people that do not, or insurance companies that do not want to pay, it's also very important for us to also standardize the format. And the insurance companies need to come up with a format that is so standard, so that we get to know that when we get an accident, this is the channel. How high do we set the standards of checking whether the claim is true or false? I mean, it can't be, in this insurance company is different, the other insurance company is different, there is another insurance company that pays well, there is another insurance company that is slow in settlement. Those are the things that we also need to cure. But again, there are other things that we also need to look at. The insurance, the brokerage companies. In this bill, you'll realize that it's limited, of course, to the directors, and limited to those people who are in charge. But we need to think through a way, and I think the Honorable Miili, who will speak after me, may understand better, that perhaps we need a way to set what I'll call, for lack of a better word, Honorable Speaker, vicarious liability. That there is a principal insurance company, and there is an agent, and there is a brokerage. So that blame is not shifted, because these are two sets of directors. A brokerage company has a director, but that is not the principal insurer. The principal insurer company could be a bigger one, like what we have here in the National Assembly. Then what happens? Who is the director? Which director will take direct fiduciary responsibility, Honorable Speaker? Perhaps this is the discussion that we need to have, so that we get to know how do we set the retribution for the agency and the mother company, so that it doesn't happen that there is a blame game. Or perhaps we also need to, go through their memorandum of understanding and see what happens. Because what happens if the agency decides to close down and the mother company folds the claim and decides to down the tools? Those are the things that we also need to check out, because insurance business in this country is very easy to operate, it's very easy to open, but very hard to settle. Very easy. Any person can go and register an insurance company. But on settlement, even on the hospital bills, look at even what happens with us. Even people who are on salary like ourselves, and the employer is obligated to pay our insurance companies, premiums. We go to hospitals, and sometimes you are told, wait, we've done an email, we've written an email, we're waiting for confirmation. It's on a Sunday. You did not order, you did not tell your body to get sick on a Sunday. Then they tell you, wait, you have a sick patient there. It takes about 7 hours or so. You lose your patient, you are covered. This is something that we need to think through, because we've really tried to limit ourselves just within one angle. But even on that, these things are, and then they set a cap on what they can pay. When they tell you you are covered at 10 million on inpatient, then today they decide and say you are deceased, the way you look, we can only possibly cover 500,000, or we can cover 200,000 and you top up the rest. Then you loiter around. So is it right? We need to think through that. What is settlement? Because what this amendment proposes is punishment on such non-committal. But there is also partial commitment. One commits partially. You promise me 10 million if I fall sick. You promise me that you'll take care of my maternity care, but you'll limit me to 150,000. I got a challenge on this maternity matter. It is taking me to about 500,000. You are telling me top up the rest. But I've been paying the entire premium. And finally, Honorable Speaker, does this limit to only the insurance companies that are private? What also happens to the public ones, like even NHIF, that defines what to pay and what not to pay, and still defines what you are supposed to contribute? Who is supposed to take responsibility? Is it, again, this is something else. Is it an element, again, of vicarious liability, where, again, it stretches back to the AG? Perhaps those are the lines that we need to think through, so that we cover the entire area, and then people will have trust with the insurance, people will do that business, and every person will invest in something. But as it is right now, Honorable Speaker, when you tell me about insurance, you tell me cover your kids with education cover, the only thing I do is that I cover my vehicles and property, because, especially the vehicles, because it's a statutory obligation, and there is a criminal element in it. But all the rest, you do it with a second thought. With that, Honorable Speaker, I support the amendments. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Mr. Speaker.